My home state of California has 55 Electoral College votes, roughly one electoral vote for every 723,000 people. The state of Wyoming has 3 Electoral College votes, roughly one for every 194,000 people. If you think that was unfair, let me tell you that we're only getting started on exploring the train wreck that is the Electoral College. So, yeah, this is an opinion video, and yes, it's not going to be very unbiased, but I think this topic doesn't get enough attention. Now, to those of you who know me in real life, you probably are aware of my hate for the Electoral College, and know I will recite why the Electoral College is complete garbage in my sleep. However, for those of you who don't know me in person, which I bet 99% of you don't, this video will do. Let's get started. First, we'll start by explaining how the Electoral College works. Each state is assigned a number of electors, the number of representatives the state has, plus the number of senators, which is always 2. So California gets 55 electors because they have 53 representatives and 2 senators. Washington, where I was born, has 10 representatives and 2 senators. So that's 12 electoral votes for that state. So we can get started. And in this video, we'll be debunking 4 common talking points from supporters of the Electoral College. My first talking point that we'll destroy is probably the most common. Most pro-electoral college debaters will say, oh, well, if we abolish the Electoral College, then California and New York will just dominate elections. Wrong. In fact, the Electoral College actually creates a scenario where if a candidate wins 11 states, they can win the presidency. And I'll show that map on your screen right now. But with the popular vote, this doesn't happen. It's not possible. Now, after pointing this out to them, they'll probably say something along the lines of, okay, well, in that case, all the big cities like New York and Los Angeles are going to dominate the elections. Let's do some quick math here. The 10 largest cities in America are New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Houston, Phoenix, Philadelphia, San Antonio, San Diego, Dallas, and San Jose. Their populations add up to roughly 26 million people. Last time I checked, 26 million votes isn't even close to winning a nationwide election decided by the popular vote. However, there is a brilliant strategy to use the Electoral College in a similar way. Let's play the CGG Grey Game, and I call it that because he essentially created this in one of his videos titled The Trouble of the Electoral College, which you should watch and subscribe to his channel, by the way. But I don't think he knows who I am, so he probably won't see this video. But it works as follows. You get 50% of the vote in each state, starting with the smallest states, and you keep adding those states up until you get 270 electoral votes. And 50% of each state's electorate is going to be based off 2020 turnout, which was super high, so probably it is an overestimation of the average turnout. First, Wyoming. In 2020, 50% of Wyoming, of the Wyoming electorate, was around 133,000 votes. Moving on to Vermont, where half of their 2020 electorate is 178,000 voters. Moving on to the District of Columbia, half of their electorate is approximately 167,000 votes. Bam, we've got 9 electoral votes already, and we haven't even reached the threshold for 1 electoral vote in California. See how insane this is? I'll keep going, but I won't read each date out loud. So your final tally is, after a long hour of doing math, you can win the U.S. presidency with approximately 36 million votes. Congratulations. You're the next president of the United States, even though you only won or less than 1/4 of the electorate. This strategy will win you 282 electoral votes with a cherry on top. So, yeah, people who complain that big cities would dominate elections without the Electoral College don't understand basic math. And I'd also like to mention that by using the big cities argument, they're assuming that the cities are a winner-take-all, or that somehow the Democratic candidate wins every single vote in New York City, which isn't even close to coming true. Just saying. So now all of you pro-Electoral College people are going to be like, well, that's by design. Small states need to be helped so big states don't push them around. Yes, but now I've created a situation where my vote doesn't matter just because of where I live. A vote from New York City should be worth the same as a vote from rural Nebraska. It's that simple. One person, one vote. It's how democracy works. Democracy is a principle, and it can only be upheld by the actions of the people and the government. But in this case, the people don't have a voice. Now, notice what I did there? I slipped in a word that nobody who supports the Electoral College dares to utter. Democracy. UEP, you'll say. America is a republic, not a democracy. Okay, well, if America isn't a democracy, why do you vote? Why do you even hold elections? We participate in democracy sometimes every year. In fact, people of Kentucky, for example, participate in democracy 3 out of every 4 years. In 2018, they voted in the midterm elections. In 2019, they voted for their governor. In 2020, they voted in the presidential election. So, democracy happens. And whether you want to be technical about it is completely up to you. And while I will concede that America isn't a pure democracy, no one is. And America should be close enough, seeing as we are called the shining beacon of the free world. What will you pro-electoral college people say next? Oh, here we go. Well, you're just saying that because you're a slimy liberal Democrat. Well, I'm not sure about the slimy part. I will admit that I lean left. However, this shouldn't be political. I value principle above everything. And to me, all that matters is that one person gets one vote no matter where they live. And the belief that abolishing the Electoral College is only a Democrat-sponsored idea is a complete myth. A Gallup poll for September of 2020, for those of you who are watching this video years later, found that 61% of Americans support abolishing the Electoral College. You have to imagine that at least some Republicans support it. And by the way, the Republican Party probably won't be too fond of the Electoral College in 20 years from now. Just saying. Now, for my last point, let's go off to a fantasy universe. Imagine Joe Trump, the Republican candidate, running against Donald J. Biden, the Democratic candidate. On election night, Donald J. Biden is projected the winner of every single state, in a landslide victory. However, on December 14th, when the Electoral College meets 270 electors who are supposed to vote for Donald J. Biden, instead cast votes for Joe Trump, handing Joe Trump the presidency even though he lost every single state. These are called faithless electors, and by the way, that's happened 167 times since we started having presidential elections. Can you imagine if there are enough faithless electors to swing the election? How mad would you be if you supported Donald J. Biden? Well, what if I told you that this could happen in any election? Yep, you heard it here. Now here's another fun scenario. What if Donald J. Biden wins every single state except for California, but wins each state by exactly one vote? Joe Trump wins California, receiving every single vote. This means that Joe Trump would win the popular vote by between 17 to 18 million. Yet he would lose the election because of a silly winner-take-all system in each state, and it would make it look like a landslide, even though in reality it was a landslide the other way around. But you might say, yeah, those might be nightmare scenarios, but nothing like that has ever happened before. Wrong again. In 1824, Andrew Jackson won the popular vote, yet the House picked John Quincy Adams because of a corrupt deal between him and Henry Clay. In 1876, Samuel J. Tilden won the popular vote, but lost the election by one electoral vote. Why? Because 4 states came down to the court, which was controlled by Republicans, so they gave all 4 states to the Republican, Rutherford B. Hayes, who became the next president of our great country. Even though Tilden won the popular vote, he still lost the election in heartbreaking fashion. Fast forward to 2000, where Al Gore won the popular vote, but lost Florida because of, yes, a Republican-controlled court. And, like I said, Al Gore actually should have won that election. I've talked about this in previous videos. Studies have shown that he would have won Florida had there been a fair recount by around 80 votes, which is still very close, but still a win. And anyways, he won the popular vote. And like I said, if we had the popular vote, the court wouldn't need to intervene unless there was an exact tie, which is mathematically improbable. See how easy that is to say? Whoever gets the most votes wins. Plus, I'm sure it would spare future parents a lot of explaining time to their kids when they ask what the Electoral College is. So, now let's wrap up the video. If you take away one thing from this video, let it be this. If you support the Electoral College, you're okay with someone who lives in Wyoming's vote being worth 4 times more than someone who lives in California. You're okay with courts choosing our politicians, not the people. You're okay with faithless electors potentially swinging the election. This system is indefensible, and it's up to my generation to get rid of it so we can finally live up to the principle of one person, one vote, and give Americans a fighting chance, and truly make our country a democracy again. So if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. I make daily uploads usually, if I have the time, and I do my best to reply to productive commenters. So I'll leave you here to think about what I've just said in this video, and please do consider, if you support the Electoral College, moving your support towards abolishing it like I do and like 61% of Americans do. So thank you for listening, and have a great rest of your day.